Biology students, if you're watching this video, where you are at right now is you are trying to do assignment number 1 for week 5, which is to graph 3 sets of data on temperature in different biomes, and I've asked you to graph them in an XY scatter plot. So let me just go over this real quick. So here's the deal. We need to be able to set up this data just like we did last week with the precipitation. We need to be able to set up the chart, and we're going to do that right now. And so I'm going to show you how to do it, but know that this is a different type of graph than the bar graphs. So it's going to look a little different. So keep that in mind as we go through this stuff here. All right, so I got to take a moment here. I got to set up my screen so I can put the data at the same time as we are looking at the information. So we're looking at week 5. You should have found this video right here, when assignment number 1, video on how to graph temperature in an XY scatter plot. What we're gonna do is we're gonna graph the first set of data, which is the cold desert. You got 2 more after that you're gonna need to do on your own, which are the tropical grassland and the taiga or boreal forest. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this guy right down over here so I can keep it in the window while we graph everything right here. Okay, so grab a piece of paper. That's a little strange. Why did it do that? Oh, because I made it smaller. Let's not do that. Let's make it bigger. And then we will just slide it on over. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so like I said, every graph that you ever make, you should always have a title so we know what we're talking about. What are we talking about? Well, we got months of the year again, just like what we did with precipitation, but this time it is not precipitation, it is temperature. So we could go with figure 1, or if you go, wait, we did figure 1 last week. Okay, let's go figure 4 this time. All right, figure 4, and what are we measuring? The average temperature where? In the cold desert. Average temperature in cold desert. Is there a hot desert? Yes, there is. Cold desert, as it means, tends to have lower temperatures than the hot desert, which obviously has higher temperatures. There are different kinds of deserts. If you are familiar with the Los Angeles area, there's the high desert and the low desert. The low desert is like Palm Springs area, and the high desert is like Victorville, Palmdale kind of area. And so they do operate in different kinds of deserts. Okay, so just like what we did last week with precipitation, you need to convert this into a graph. So the first thing you have to do is set up your lines and your numbers on your y-axis and your x-axis. But again, we're back to, how do I know how many lines I'm going to need? So again, always start with your data. So this is some funky data. Look at that. You got some positives, you got some negatives. And so that's fine. Don't let it freak you out. It's just, again, it's their numbers. And so you go, all right, what's my lowest number? Well, negatives are lower. So what's my biggest negative? Negative 18, negative 17. So it looks like negative 18. Okay, so that means I'm going to go from negative 20. I'm going to make negative 20 my lowest, just to keep it easy that way. Okay. And then what's my highest number? My highest number would be positive. So I got a 15, a 17, 14, so 17. So I'm going to go 20 negative all the way up to 20 positive. And so you're like, okay, so 20 negative back to 0 is 20 lines. And then from 0 to positive 20 is another 20 lines. So I would need 40 lines. I don't have 40 lines on this sheet of paper. I don't even have to count them. I know there's only like maybe 30 at the most. And so instead of me going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is where you get a little smarter and you go, all right, how am I going to do this? I could go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So I could go in 2s. So 40 divided by 2 would be 20. 20 lines will fit on here. Let's just double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yep. Okay, so I counted. Let me count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And then I'll put my x-axis right at that line down there. Okay, so I counted 20 lines Why did I do that? Because I'm going to go from negative 20 to positive 20, which is 40 lines, but I decided I'm going to go by 2s. Could you have gone by 5s? Sure. So then you go 5, so negative 20, negative 15, negative 10, negative 5, 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. That's only 9 lines. That would be a very small graph. That'd be like that size. So that's why I didn't go by 5s, because I felt like that's too small. This is about good. This is good size. So I'm going to just use that red line. Okay. So again, every line is going to be a tick mark. Tick, 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 tick. And I said I was going to start at negative 20, not 0 this time. Okay. And I'm going to go up by 2s. So negative 18, negative 16, negative 14, negative 12, negative 10, negative 8, negative 6, negative 4, negative 2, 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay. So notice how easy it is to do once you've done all the thinking around the numbers before time. So I knew I was going to go from negative 20 to positive 20. That's 40 spaces. 40 wasn't going to fit, so I'm going to go up by 2s, and there you go. Okay, we got to label it. So let's turn our paper. What is it that we are measuring? Well, it says over here in our data, average temperature. Average temperature. And you can abbreviate that if you'd like. And then again, how is it measured? We're using degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. That's very important, because if you say, oh, the desert is at negative 18 degrees, well, as Americans, we would use the Fahrenheit scale and go, dang, that's cold. Well, negative 18 Celsius is still cold, but it's probably not as cold as negative 18 Fahrenheit. We'll get into temperature scales more when we get into chemistry. All right, sorry, shouldn't have zoomed out quite yet. It's a big chart. Okay, now my x-axis. What do I have? Again, months of the year. We already did this last week where I said, all right, to fit all 12 of them, I'm going to go half. Tick marks. Now, because this is an XY scatter plot and this is not a bar graph, I'm going to actually put the months. Oops, why is that doing that? Go away. Why? There we go. I'm going to actually put the months on the actual lines. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And like we did last week, just in case somebody doesn't know, these are months of the year. Just label my x-axis properly. Now, the setup may have been a little bit more, but here's the beauty of an XY scatter plot. Putting the data on the graph is actually a lot easier. So we're going to start with January. Now that we're all set up, January, it was negative 18. So I go to January, I go up to negative 18, which is right there. Where those two would meet, dot. February, negative 15. Go over to February, negative 15. That would be right about there. So I'm going to put dot. This looks more like what you probably do in math class. Negative 12 for March. So I go over to March. Negative 12 would be on the line. So dot. Oh, I'm seeing kind of a pattern here. All right, April, negative 2. All right, go over to April, negative 2. Now we're getting tricky here. Okay. Negative April, negative 2 is right there. Dot. May is 8. May all the way up to 8. 8 is right here, so dot. June is 15. June right there. 15 would be between 14 and 16, so I'm looking at something right about there. Dot. July is 17. All right, 17 would be 16 and 18, so dot. August is 14. Boo, boo, boo. 14 is right on the line. Dot. September is 7. That's going to be a drop. Or is it? Let's take a look. It's between 8 and 6. Dot. October is -4. So right here, -4. Make sure you're looking at the negatives. Dot. November, -14. Dot. And December, -17. Dot. Okay. Now, depending on what kind of graph you're doing, sometimes it's a connect the dots. I'm sorry, the dimes. Connect the dots. Sometimes it's more of like a curve that goes close to the dots. In this particular one, I'm going to ask you to actually connect the dots. And I'm going to use a pen just so it doesn't get all messy and nasty. Okay, so just connect my dots like so. I'm a little off with my connections, but I think you get the basic idea. The A-Team song stuck in my head. There we go. Okay. And there you go. That's an XY scatter plot. So this is how the temperatures move when the cold desert. And so does it make sense? Yeah. January, February, and December are your lowest temperatures. Probably that's the winter time in the northern hemisphere. And then your hottest temperatures are June, July, and August, which we are in at the moment. So this all seems to make sense to me. X-axis is labeled, Y-axis is labeled. I have a title. My graph is done. I am good to go. And so that's how you do that. Okay. So we'll do that together on Wednesday and Thursday, just to make sure everybody knows how to do it. But if you need to watch this video, go ahead and keep watching it. Have a good one.